What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tirafon Orbital. We're almost there. If you haven't noticed, I'm wearing the same thing in all of these videos. That is because I don't know. I think I'm a glutton for punishment. So I film I film a bunch of videos in one day, and it can get a little tedious. So I'm filming 6 demo videos today, and that might kind of seem why. It might come off as I'm kind of just dialing it in and just trying to push through these these videos. Doing demo videos is great. It's fun. What is not fun for me is the editing part, like the post-processing part of these videos. I also it's just me talking. Like, I don't write a script or anything. That's probably very obvious. But yeah, it's just a lot of talking. And I feel as though it can get a little repetitive, right? Anyhow, enough of me complaining. Today I'd like to talk about an install that I completed on a Yungling. This is the Yungling from Jawas Junkyard. This is a very interesting hilt. It's based on Gunji's lightsaber. It is a not full, but it is wood mixed media, right? So we've got wood and aluminum in this hilt. I believe that this is the new version that is being offered from Jawas Junkyard. So I went ahead and designed a new chassis for this, and I do want to come in Fusion and quickly talk about it. This chassis I also printed in wood PLA. I have been meaning to try wood PLA for a while now. I've seen wood PLA like grip sleeves been done before. So I wanted to try that, and I figured what better reason than a wooden lightsaber to do a wood PLA chassis, right? So we are going to come into Fusion and quickly talk about the chassis, and then we will come up top, come down below, up top, and I always get that confused. And we will talk a little bit about the install, talk about how to use the chassis, and then we will do a quick demo, right? So with all of that out of the way, let's come into Fusion. All right, so here it is. This is the chassis that I designed for the Jawas Junkyard Gunji. All right, so a little bit different aesthetic design with this chassis. Something that is very, very hard for me to model and design are organic shapes. Now, I could do squares and I can make industrial looking parts all day long, but when it comes down to making something that looks like a tree, believe it or not, it is very difficult to design in Fusion. So this is my feeble attempt at doing something organic, right? These are kind of like vines or branches and leaves. This looks very rudimentary, and I understand that, but I wanted to do something a little bit more organic with this design because it's a wooden lightsaber, right? So that is what is in the middle section here. And then, of course, I did add a couple of greeblies along the side of the chassis, some ridges, but I tried to keep it as organic as I could, but this was my result. Maybe I should just keep practicing when it comes to branches and trees. But anyhow, very, very long chassis. All right, so this chassis almost goes the entire length of the hilt. Because of where we have switch placement with this hilt, this chassis has got to be clocked. Now, the way that I got around, or the way that I addressed that clocking, is by essentially affixing this chassis to the pommel itself. So this pommel does not thread into the hilt. It is held in place with a set screw. So this entire chassis is basically glued into the pommel. So once you screw that pommel in place, it is already clocked, okay? Battery tray is here. Proffie board is up top. This is a Proffie board V3 build. I did add 2 windows for 2020 NeoPixel strips here. This was at the request of the customer, wanted some extra blinkies on this. And then up top, there is a lit PCB emitter. This is from KR Sabers, okay? At the bottom, we've got a 28mm speaker, and we also have a kill switch around back up top here, okay? This is where that switch is. So this is a single button switch setup that has a single magnetic plunger switch. If you've watched my channel before, you know my thoughts and feelings on magnetic plunger switches, but here we are. That is how this hilt was designed. So there is a plunger on the outside of this hilt. We'll come up top and we'll talk about it. It is held in place with a magnet. So there is a red tactile button switch housing here with a 3mm neodymium magnet glued ever so carefully to the top of it so that the plunger will stay in place. The plunger also has a neodymium magnet on it as well. But let's come up top and talk about that a little bit. But that is it, essentially. The chassis for the Jawas Junkyard Yungling. Let's come up top. All right, so here it is, the Yungling from Jawas Junkyard. All right, very interesting looking wooden hilt. Now, before this hilt came to me, this was with Austin over at Astoria Workshop. I had a complete brain fart there. This was with Austin at Astoria Workshop, and he did his treatment to it, right? He gave it a little bit of battle scarring. He weathered it. All right, we've got some scarring along the side here, some scarring in the pommel. All right, very nicely weathered and treated by Austin before it came to me, okay? So let's talk about how to get to this chassis. As I mentioned, this plunger switch, all right, do not lose this plunger switch. It will render the hilt completely unusable. You'll have to order another one or have one made. You should probably 3D print one. But anyway, here is that little baby plunger switch. It has a 3mm magnet glued to the end of it. And that is what makes a connection to the button on the chassis. Now to remove the chassis, I'm going to go ahead and push this chassis out. It is a little bit of a tight fit, okay? The inside of this is still a little bit dusty with wood. I mean, it's a wooden body chassis, all right? So once you get your chassis out, here it is. Now, this basically lives inside of this pommel, all right? So that is how we clock the chassis, make sure that this switch lines up with that switch hole. But this one has a magnet on it, right? So that plunger switch will just stay in place, kind of. Look at that. It will stay in place. All right, magnetic plunger switches, here we are, all right? But that's it. Let's talk about how to use this chassis. Battery tray is here. There is a better look at that wood PLA, by the way. This was wood PLA from Bamboo Labs. I like it. It's got an interesting tactile feel to it. When you print with wood PLA, it kind of smells woody. It smells like there's a fire burning, kind of. A little bit. Not too much. But yeah, interesting media format, okay? To put your battery in the chassis, spring side is down towards the speaker. Speaker is in this pommel. This will take a button top 18650 battery. So go ahead and put your battery in that chassis. Those 2020 NeoPixel strips will light. Okay. So once you get your battery in, you can put your chassis in. So I would line up, you can do one of two things. There's a hole here. This is what secures the pommel in place, or you can line up that switch with the switch hole on the outside of the chassis. So go ahead and slide your chassis all of the way in place. Okay. You got to make sure that this hole is lined up. Okay, let me get that screw to secure it. Okay, there is a panhead screw here that will hold that pommel in place. So go ahead and tighten that. Do not over crank this screw because you don't want to split this wood. Okay, just make sure it's nice and snug. And then you're ready to go. All right, let's go ahead and put this switch in. Okay. All right, and that's it. Let's come down to the bottom or up top. So there it is, the Gunji lightsaber, the Yungling rather, from Jawas Junkyard. Okay, let's put a blade in it. All right, so this will take a 7/8 inch blade. Go ahead and rest your blade on those PCB pins. There's also a set screw around front here. Just go ahead and tighten that so it's hugging your blade. So once you get that set screw on, you're good to go. Okay, so that's not tight. Let me tighten that set screw a little bit more. Okay, so single button Proffie. All right, to scroll through your fonts, you want to long press and release. Okay, really nice feeling hilt. Nice sounding hilt. Okay. Let's go ahead and do one more. There it is. The Yungling from Jawas Junkyard. That's a nice sounding hilt. Okay. But that is it. That's the Yungling from Jawas Junkyard. This has been weathered and treated by Austin at Astoria Workshop. But yeah, great hilt, okay? To the customer, thank you very much for your patience and trusting me with your install. If anyone has any questions about this chassis, please do not be a stranger. I will be adding it to my online chassis index after recording this video. So that is all I have got. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.